What is going on, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to your go-to Pacers podcast. Setting the pace, the Indiana Pacers fall 117-110 to the Phoenix Suns in the road trip that they had, the 6-game road trip, 2-4. I think that is what we all kind of expected. And so the Pacers, they're still above 500. They're still in a good spot, made a big trade during this road trip too. So Facci, a lot to talk about, but this game specifically, how are we feeling?
Well, we felt better. The Pacers had opportunities. I thought going into this game, no Tyrese Haliburton, no Isaiah Jackson. Anytime Halliburton's out, you're like, all right, things are going to be tough tonight. And the Pacers, I think, at times they fell behind, and Phoenix looked like they were going to run away with it. But Phoenix never really could fully put the Pacers away, and the Pacers had opportunities. They took a late lead in the fourth, and you started thinking, wow, we might actually take this one. But in the end, that is a really good Phoenix team that I don't think has lived up to their potential thus far, but they're starting to click far more. Anytime you got Kevin Durant on the floor and Bradley Beal and Devin Booker, you got a good chance. And tonight, the Phoenix Suns, they grinded it out. They got the win.
Yeah, I mean, this Phoenix Suns team, the biggest problem with them is they just haven't been healthy this year. So they're starting to get a little bit healthy. They're 24-18. They've got Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker all scored 25 points or more in this game. And it's hard to stop a three-headed monster like that,
Yes.
especially without your number one guy. But the Pacers still had opportunities here to win this game, Facci. The bench, they did have a much better showing. We knew that this team was going to bounce back. Phoenix's bench is not very good. Only 9 points in this game, Facci. So we knew the Pacers were going to have a good chance. Jarus Walker, he outscored Phoenix's bench in this game. So that just kind of shows you some stuff. But Obi Toppin had 13 points. Jalen Smith had 15. Andrew Nembhard had 9 off the bench. Matherin and Shepard had 4 each off the bench. So, it was like we knew the bench was going to bounce back. We were unsure if Tyrese Haliburton would play or not. There was a lot of question marks if he would or would not play. And he did not play. TJ McConnell got the start with Nesmith, with Hield, with Turner, and Siakam playing in his second game. I don't know. I don't know where you want to start out here because there's a lot of different places we can go, but I'll take the mic from me here and direct me in one way.
We'll start with Pascal Siakam. So Siakam as the guy, no Tyrese Haliburton. You quickly see like Siakam, very good player. How good is your team going to be if he's your number one? Probably not that great. That's why we felt great with him being the number 2 with Tyrese Haliburton. So no Haliburton, obviously that makes things a bit tougher. And I felt the Pacers did not get Siakam the ball enough. Just 14 shots in this game. I wanted him. There was plenty of times I was saying, give it to him. Feed Siakam. Look, he had moments at mid-ranger. I love it. 7 assists. Great to see. But I just felt that this is a game that he probably should have been more aggressive. 15 points. It was the second leading scorer on this team behind Buddy's 18. So, in my opinion, I just feel like Siakam with Tyrese Haliburton, sky is the limit. Siakam with TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard, a little bit different.
I mean, that's the case for everybody. You're talking about a superstar level player in Tyrese Haliburton. So don't want to put him down too much, but I will say this. He did give you a little bit of a wrinkle in tonight's game. The versatility to play a smaller lineup with Pascal at the 5.
I liked it.
Yeah, and the Pacers found some success. They ended up playing him and Obi Toppin and Aaron Nesmith in the front court with Buddy Hield and Nembhard to kind of close this game out. Made a little bit of a run of it, and they gave themselves a fighting chance, but just it wasn't enough in the end. But Miles Turner in this game, 5 of 11 from the field, 12 points, only 2 rebounds. He had 2 blocks, but he was a minus 25. He was the worst of anybody plus minus wise on the court tonight. And I think part of it's just because this is a really bad matchup for him, depending upon
very bad.
How you have to guard all these guys in space. So Rick Carlisle kind of punts on the traditional big man lineup and goes small. And we really saw Aaron Nesmith kind of go all out defensively. We saw, even at times, Andrew Nembhard, I thought he played really good defense. Trying to defend Devin Booker is not an easy task. And Devin Booker, he had, I think, 25, 26 points tonight, but he did it on 24 shots. So he wasn't very efficient. So I don't know. I just feel like Pascal Siakam, he just kind of showed you some versatility tonight. And then we saw a weird bench combination of players because we saw Jarus Walker play the 3 a little bit more tonight. And we're starting to see that his shots starting to come together a little bit more. I think that you can maybe see there is a future there for him to play some more 3 and 4. I don't know if it's a long-term thing, but if they need to do it in a pinch, they have that versatility, they have that optionality.
There was something about seeing him play the three tonight and the way that he played that gave me a lot of hope moving forward because, while the shot was falling, I mean, he goes 4 of 6, 10 points. Great to see. Hit a couple threes. Rebounds. He had 9 boards. That led the Pacers. He had 6 rebounds in his first 7 minutes. And a couple of those were leading his second chance, buckets. He had a putback slam. He saved another ball that so I think Ben Shepherd ended up getting fouled on, going to the free throw line. And this was just like good active play. So I liked some of the tweaks that Carlisle made between having him at the 3, having Siakam at the 5. It's like this is what you have to do when you have a log jam at the 4. Some guys either need to slide up to the 3. Someone's got to slide down on the 5. I felt like this was a good experiment. And tonight, Jarus just had those moments where you could see a player that very well could be special in this league, but it's going to take some time, no doubt. But I felt like I was grabbing my ticket at the deli and getting in line saying, we got to play Jarus Walker more. I felt like it was like, I am there now because what I saw was like, okay, we needed something a little bit different tonight. And Jarus Walker gave the Pacers good minutes.
Yeah, I saw a lot of hot takes on social media
I
basically
bet.
saying, "Oh, he should be in the rotation now, and moving forward, he should be in the rotation." It's still going to be tough. I mean,
It is.
you bring back Tyrese Haliburton, it just kind of shifts everybody down one out of spot, and then I don't know, Isaiah Jackson's
Isaiah,
not been
yeah.
playing either, too. So we'll see what happens, but I definitely think that Jarris has made a strong case for himself in the Sacramento game and in this game against
Mhm.
Phoenix for why he is more deserving of playing time. I'm still not trying to like hang my hat on saying like, oh yeah, he's gonna be banking minutes now just because he had a couple good games. Because we know that Rick Carlisle does not like to play rookies, and Quinn Buckner even said it blatantly on the podcast or on the broadcast tonight. He said, Rick doesn't play a lot of rookies, but these guys are getting extended playing time because of the opportunity tonight with injuries and stuff like that. And they needed to throw a little bit of a different look out there and get some more size out there. So maybe it would have been interesting to see what Jarris looked like closing out one of these tough games like that. But we did see how that stretch went against Sacramento when he was helping close out the game. It was a little rough, but they needed ball handling. Andrew Nembhard was kind of in and out of the rotation tonight with his injury. Matherin at one point got benched after a play in the first quarter, didn't really see the floor until the end of the second. So just a lot of interesting wrinkles here with all these different lineup combinations. And I feel like this was like the guys on their last leg of this road trip, ready to get back home, trying to, scratch and claw to find a victory, a way to win this game. But it just unfortunately wasn't enough. If Tyrese Haliburton plays, Facci, you think we win this game?
I do. I really do. And I found myself saying that to myself. And I know that is the easiest excuse. It's the easiest to say Halliburton plays this game, we win. Because I believe it. It's just that I just feel like we would have got Siakam involved a lot more. We would have gotten better looks for a lot of guys that struggled. Matherin goes 1 of 8 in this game. I mean, McConnell wasn't looking great. Nembhard struggled. There was a ton of guys that just Neesmith's shots weren't falling. We've seen Neesmith so much better with Halliburton. Like we said before, that's the case for everybody. But it's tough. And I know, hey, look, the road trip, it's over. I think it is good to get Haliburton some rest. Never expected him to come back against Portland in the first place.
Mhm.
So we could still say he's ahead of schedule. I know that it's tough to drop that game against Portland, drop this one, especially when you feel that, we would have won this with Haliburton. But at the same point, you've said it best in the past. Get to sleep in our own beds soon. So this team, they're looking forward to hitting that pillow, getting a little bit of rest and getting back to it. But I mean, we've seen all the hot takes. We know how it goes. I saw on Twitter 0-2 with Siakam, as if that had anything to do with him at all. It ain't his fault, but that's just sometimes how the cookie crumbles. And I think that we just need to find a way to how do we get this team healthy at the same time? It always feels like, hey, Halliburton comes back. Well, all right, well, Nembhard's out. Jalen Smith's back. Oh, well, Isaiah Jackson. There's always someone in, someone out. It just makes it tough. I feel like we're getting healthier. You would imagine, I imagine, because this seemed like more of a rest issue, not an aggravation, that
Right.
Halliburton will be back out there for the next game. Isaiah Jackson, look, concussions, they could be pretty tricky. I don't know. Sometimes it could be long term, sometimes it's short term. I imagine Isaiah will be back in the near future. So I'm excited to get this team, right and healthy. But Alex, there was a couple other reasons why maybe they dropped this game. You lose by 7, you miss 9 free throws.
Yeah.
9. And I'm not saying you have to hit them all, but there was a time where if you would hit half of them, it's a much closer game. I mean, towards the end of the game, things got a little bit out of hand. This was a very close game with about 35 seconds left. It was maybe a 4 or 5 point game, I believe it was. So
Yeah. I
Pacers
mean,
were in it.
this game really got close for the majority of the second half of the fourth
Mhm.
quarter. So the Pacers cut it to 103-102, and it's set at 103-102 for like 2.5 minutes.
Yes, it did.
It felt like both teams were trying to break away from each other, and they couldn't do it. They just kept fumbling the bag when they were trying to make a basket, or they would turn the ball over or whatever. And finally, Buddy Hield drills a three to give
It's
the
a
Pacers a
3.
2-point lead. And it felt like we finally broke the ice. We got the monkey off our back. They go to timeout, and then Kevin Durant hits a three right out of the timeout. The Suns get the lead back, and we're going back and forth again. Nimhard ends up tying it. But it was just one of those things where you're sitting there thinking to yourself, man, it just took us so long to get those 3 points from Buddy Hield. We did exert a lot of energy, but to me, the problem was after that, the Suns started targeting Buddy Hield in the pick and roll. The Pacers were obviously playing small. There was no rim protector out there. Siakam's playing the 5. And these guys were like, okay, the worst defender out here by far is Buddy Hield. So we're going to attack him. In 3 straight plays in a row, the Suns attacked him and they scored. And this is going to be a sign of things to come. I had people messaging me saying, you know what? This is what it's going to look like in the playoffs when Buddy Hield's out there. And I said, Buddy Hield doesn't even have to be out there on the court. He still serves a purpose to this team. But people are forgetting that's what's going to happen to Tyrese Haliburton. Tyrese Haliburton in these type of situations is going to be targeted because Tyrese is not a strong defender. I would even say that Buddy Hield is a better on-ball defender than Tyrese
I would say
Haliburton
so.
because he at least uses some of his body because he's, thicker to me than Tyrese Haliburton is a little bit more thin than Buddy. So he can kind of hold his own to a certain degree compared to a Tyrese Haliburton. They're both bad defenders. We're not sitting here saying one's that
Yes.
much better than the other.
Yeah. No
But
one's getting votes for all defensive
no.
team over here. No.
But I mean, Buddy has shown times where he's willing to be more physical than Tyrese is. So that to me is where I'm sitting here watching this game thinking, okay, yeah, we want to cook Buddy for this, and everyone's like, Buddy shouldn't be out there. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough defensively, and I don't know what else they were going to do to try to change things up in terms of defensively. Do you throw a Jarus Walker out there instead of a Buddy Hield? I don't know. Buddy was leading you in scoring at that point. There wasn't a lot of offense going with this group either, outside of trying to get Buddy some open looks and provide spacing. But yeah, it's just going to be tough. And Tyrese is going to be in that same boat when you're playing teams like Phoenix, when you're playing teams that can kind of go out there and attack mismatches like this. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on how the Pacers look to try to play a little bit more help side when you do see a guy get targeted like that. Maybe you leave a Grayson Allen open or somebody else open to try to prevent Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal from just cooking you. But not a tall, not an easy task, a very tall task for anybody guarding those guys. It's just kind of the nature of the business. I don't know if you felt the same way, but that's just where I'm at.
No, I did. And look, you say tall task, it's about a 7-foot task. Because Kevin Durant, look, he had it going tonight. And I think when you talk about Devin Booker, yeah, I think he had 26 points, I believe it was. He had 12 in the first quarter. I felt the Pacers did do a better job on him, as the game went on. But some of the shots that Kevin Durant hits, it's like he doesn't even see the defender. He just shoots. I saw Nesmith give it everything he got, and Durant would just shoot right over him. And it didn't matter who it was. It's like that's why he is one of the best players of all time, a surefire Hall of Famer. It was tough. It was frustrating. He did 40 points on 18 of 25 shooting. That's ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician, but I imagine that's upwards of 75%. It's got to be between 75 to 80. It's like he had a really good game. And I just feel like Bradley Beal was someone where it kind of looked a little bit effortless. Also 11 of 16 shooting. But, talking about the Pacers, I just feel like Jalen Smith, maybe I jinxed him. I don't know. Jalen had 13 at halftime. He was 5 of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was 4 of 4, whatever it was. He finished the game with 15. I mean, I thought this was the Jalen Smith revenge game against the Suns. Like, stick it to him, Jalen. This is great. disappeared. There was nowhere to be found in the second half. Turner didn't even play the fourth. I felt like there was a couple guys who played well early on that really just kind of vanished in this game. But overall, I mean, Benedict Mathurin is someone that the Pacers need to get going. We talked about a couple games ago against Sacramento. Amazing. The last two games, Alex, he is 1 of 16
Yeah, it's
from the
terrible.
field. It's as bad as could be. I don't think there's anyone who's going 0 of 16 in the NBA. You are 1 of 16. It's tough. You talked about him getting benched. Just overall, it was not a good performance on someone that at this point you count on. You count on now to be that guy off the bench. And I felt like he didn't have it. And I'm happy that Andrew Nembhard returned. I do not think that he is anywhere near 100%. It was nice to have
No.
him back out there, but there was times where the shot just, it looked like he rushed it too much. I mean, obviously the 4 turnovers, the last one that he had was kind of put the nail on the coffin this game, and just it was a game that you felt that you could have had. But answer me this: who are you beating in the NBA if you let them shoot 57% from the field?
It's not gonna win a lot of games when you're doing that
They're
unless
gonna
you're
win
out shooting
anything.
them. You know,
And you
it's
got to
tough.
shoot 60+%. I mean, that's so rare to do.
Yeah.
57%. You can't let a team do that.
No, and I mean that's part of the problem with this Pacers team. They still lack some defensive upside here. You know, they've got
Gotten better.
players and they're growing, right? But it's just going to take some time. And I think getting Pascal acclimated to everything still is a work in progress. It's only 2 games in. Everyone's freaking out right now just because you add Pascal and people have lost 2 games in a row. But look at what the Clippers did.
Oh,
Clippers
yeah, lost
added
like
James
5 in a
Harden.
row, 6 in a row. It
They
was
lost
ugly.
5 in a row. Everybody's like, Ty Lue's got to be fired. They made one small change and boom. So we'll see what
Took
happens
off.
with this group. We haven't even seen Tyrese really with Pascal except for 1 game. I'm not gonna push the panic button anytime
Either am
soon.
I.
It's just gonna be a matter of time till everything's gonna fix itself. But yeah, Ben Mathurin, interesting weekend for him. Friday night, really bad game. Saturday, gets put into the Arizona's Ring of Honor. Really cool honor for him. The entire team goes to watch the game. TJ McConnell gets some love going back home to his alma mater. But then all of a sudden, you see Benedict Mathurin in the first quarter. He's on a 3-on-1 fast break. And instead of passing the ball to the open guy, which I believe was Pascal Siakam, he drives to the basket, and I think he missed the layup. It's all a blur right now. I was going back and forth between this game and obviously the really competitive playoff football game that was going on. I
Mhm.
was at my parents' house, but I remember he missed that layup, and all of a sudden he gets pulled out of the game. And I didn't really see the interaction between him and Carlisle, but people said you could tell like it was the shot that he took, and he didn't go back into the game until the end of the second quarter. So Rick Carlisle, he is coaching him hard, and we've seen that be kind of a reoccurring trend over this season, over last season, and fans really have a hard time with it because it feels like Ben is held to a higher standard than other people, where a guy like Nimhard maybe gets more of a longer leash. But I just feel like maybe part of the problem is Ben's making the wrong play and not executing, where maybe Andrew is executing or not executing, but at least he's making the right play. So
Yeah. Mhm.
I,
I
I
agree with
think
that.
you have to kind of balance things out. Definitely did not like the play Andrew Nimhard made at the end of the game. I tweeted it out. I really
That
is
was
a dumb
tough.
play.
Yeah.
When you're driving into traffic and there's not much space there and you just continue to keep driving, maybe not try to force so much, Andrew. I know you're a physical guy, but that was unnecessary to me. Get the ball into the hands of someone that can do it for you. But yeah, I mean, it was a tough spot. No easy way to put it. I don't think that was the reason why we lost the game or anything like
No,
that, but it was just a bad performance and bad execution by Andrew Nimhard, and I think it's okay to hold him accountable for that specific play. There was other times where he lost the ball, but coming back from injury, he just doesn't look like the Andrew Nimhard we saw
he
last year,
doesn't.
and I'm not gonna write him off anytime. I'm seeing people in my mention saying he's not an NBA player. Like, okay, you guys are just being a
Oh
little
my
bit
God.
over the
Come
top.
on.
I know that I am a huge Nimhard defender, but let's be honest here. He'll be fine. He just really hasn't had a strand of like 4 or 5 weeks where he stayed healthy. He has been dealing with this injury all season long, and you can tell he does not look like himself.
He doesn't, and I don't remember what the exact verbiage was, or description of this injury by the Pacers, but it was something related to his spine. It was
Yeah.
like a bruised spine or something of a sort. Here, I finally got it pulled up in front of me. Um, thoracic spine sprain.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is. It doesn't sound good though. So look, I'm happy that he was out there. Did not look like himself. My mentions got flooded by some unfortunate Nemhard hate. Look, guys, we'll call it like it is. Yes, obviously, a lot of times we praise him because his future is so bright. Yeah, tonight he didn't look good, and this season is not what any of us hoped for. Last year he was so awesome. I mean, just gave all the hope in the world as to like this kid's going to be special, and I do think that he has everything that it takes to bounce back, and I'm excited for that. But I think for right now, it was more of, hey, Tyrese is out. Can you give it a go tonight?
Yeah.
And he did give it a go, and he was still a positive plus minus. He was +2 in the game. I mean, you look at the
Yeah.
starters. The starters did not play well. But going back to real quick for Siakam, 14 shots. I mean, Obi Toppin had 12. Turner didn't even play the fourth quarter. He had 11. I just feel like it was like Siakam needs more touches to be more involved, especially in a game where it's like, where's the scoring really coming from? It just felt like the Pacers didn't know who that next basket was going to come from. They were swinging it around. Classic Pacers. I mean, they got 6 guys in double figures, but it was, 10, 12, 13, 15.
Yeah.
It wasn't the 25s, the 20s, and anything like that. So, overall, yeah, it's frustrating, but this is the end of a road trip that we knew was going to be a very tough one. We thought world's best case scenario 4-2,
Yeah.
but 3-3 was what we were like. Okay, you go 3-3, we could definitely live with that. Look, it's 2-4, but you know what? In the process, you made a big trade that changes your outlook moving forward, and for that, I still feel extremely confident in this Pacers team. But tonight, yeah, they let one slip away, but in the end, Phoenix is going to be a team that is going to do some real solid work this second half of the season. This is not a bad loss.
No, I mean, if we don't make the trade, you can make the strong argument that maybe we do win one of these games because
Probably.
you're not messing up the chemistry and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. When you're integrating somebody new into the offense and just bringing them into the system, they're trying to figure you out. You're trying to figure them out. There's new terminology. There's all different sorts of things that you have to work through. I'd rather get through those now, though, because the Pacers are on the second back of the last 41 games of the season. They're 0-2 now, but we can see how that all plays out because I think there's a good chance that this team can figure the problems out, get things going. This next coming week they have 3 in a row at home. There's some very tough opponents, but they can get some revenge games here. They've got Denver, they've got Philly, and they've got Phoenix. I think they feel confident that they could hang with Phoenix. I think they feel confident they could hang with Denver. So, not saying that those teams, aren't, aren't we're not I'm saying we're better than them. I'm not trying to say that, but I'm saying we can hang with them. This is an opportunity for the Pacers to kind of show like we belong in this upper echelon of teams that is really trying to compete in the entire NBA. So I'm not worried about that. But overall, I just felt like good effort. Obviously, you wish they would have won at least maybe one more game. Probably could have won the
Yeah.
Portland game, should have won that
Yeah.
game. This was an uphill battle the entire time. You made a game of it, but couldn't pull it out. I mean, definitely playing not bad basketball. The only blowout they had in this entire road trip was against Utah. So that to me says, all right, they're competing, they're playing at a good level. They just gotta, get healthy, tighten the loose ends, and continue growing this thing. But with so many rumors looming out there for the next couple of weeks, we'll have to see if this roster does get impacted anymore by any trades that could be made. So I'm just ready to see this roster kind of get settled into who they are and kind of figure things out. But I don't think we had any hot Obi Toppin takes today, did we?
No,
After
not on
last
my end. I
game,
mean,
we were
oh yeah.
talking
I
about
mean,
how he
look. I
doesn't
mean,
fit and all this. And
well, yeah. Obi, exactly. I mean, last game Obi played, 11 minutes. This time, he produced far more than that. He had 12 points. Looked pretty good out there. I think last time from 11 minutes to 11 shots. It shows that he was
yeah,
far more involved this time around. But I wonder if some of the tinkering of the lineup was in case the Pacers are to make a move. Doing things like playing Jarus at the 3 a little bit or Siakam at the 5, little things like that. Who knows? Maybe it was just by situation. I don't know. But overall, the Pacers still have roughly, this was the 43rd game of the season. So you have roughly half the season left.
yeah,
So I think this is a great time where you can be able to develop fantastic chemistry. But also, one thing that I wanted to add is when the Pacers have seen a team twice, they have made the adjustments, except for Portland. Now we've played Denver already. We've played Phoenix already. So I look forward to seeing how we respond, because I think it's very similar to, when we lost to Boston, or when we lost to Philly, or any of those teams that we played earlier in the year that we came back and responded with. I'm excited to see what adjustments Carlisle makes this time around. But also, next time we play Denver, you expect Tyrese Haliburton out there. He was not out there the first time. Next time we play Phoenix, we expect Tyrese Haliburton out there again. So I'm excited to see that. So guys, let's brush our shoulders off a little bit. Forget this loss. It's not a bad loss. It's not in the same category as Portland. But moving forward, let's get this team healthy. I want to respond. Let's let them get home, get a little bit of rest. Let's get back out there.
Yeah, I mean, and they play the Nuggets, who are on a 5-game East Coast road trip. This will be the 4th of their 5 games, so we'll see how the Pacers play against them. And Tyrese obviously did not play in that game against the Nuggets in Denver. So it'll be interesting. Obviously, no Bruce Brown there to tell you what plays they're running, so that will hurt. But I think that I still feel pretty good about this Pacers team. I'm not ready to hit the panic button yet. Still in 7th place in the Eastern Conference at 24-19. Still just 2 games back of 5th place. The schedule's going to get lighter. They've had a really tough schedule opponent-wise this month, so I'm not overly concerned. It's going to be okay, but I think for this game alone, it's just you didn't have 3 dogs like Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. You were trying to win by committee, and when Buddy Hield leads your team with 18 points against that type of performance that we saw from those big 3, you're not going to likely see a win. So good effort, but just not enough, Facci. And I think that we owe it to the guys for competing, but they could have been better. They could have made this more of a game than it was, but unfortunately, they Tyler Bassed it, and they missed the field goal.
Yeah.
With the opportunity to make it a tight game, and just couldn't close it in at the end.
No, they couldn't. And hey, got a feel for Buffalo Bills fans, because this was their last game of the year. They're gonna. We talk about going home to get some sleep. They're gonna get about 6 months of that. So for now, I think that the Pacers. I'm happy that we have another game to be able to respond. So everybody, things are gonna be good. I can't wait to see more Haliburton and Siakam. I'm keeping my eyes on did Jarus Walker do enough to be able to get in there, because anytime I saw him come in there earlier, I was excited. There's some good storylines coming from this game, but with the trade deadline just about roughly 2 weeks from now, a lot of questions, not enough answers. We're gonna find out. That's the exciting thing about this team. So you're just gonna have to stay tuned.
Absolutely, Facci. Go ahead and tell the people where they can find us at on social media.
Absolutely. So you can find us on Twitter at PacersPodSTP. Alex can be found on Twitter at AlexGoldenNBA. I can be found on Twitter at _FACCI. You can find us on Instagram at PacersPodSTP. You can find us on Facebook at Setting the Pace. You can find us on TikTok, Setting the Pace. And Alex, tell them where they can check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, you can go to youtube.com/Setting the Pace, a Pacers podcast. You can find all of our video content. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel there. And if you're not already, subscribe to this podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Let us know what you think in the review so we can get some feedback and try to make this show a better experience. But with that being said, Facci, if you're hoping after this long road trip, the boys can get home and sleep in their own beds, then hit me with those 3 words.
Let's go, Pacers!